Hello and welcome to the latest Goals I View. I'm joined by Chris
Evening all.
and Dom.
Hello guys, you right?
Yeah, today we're going to be doing I know there's 2 games of season left, but there's been a lot of talk with marquee signings and all that stuff.
3 games of the season left.
3 games of the season left, thank you. Because you can tell I have lost interest.
He's in summer mode already. Look at him.
Yeah.
Don't say you've lost interest at the start.
And so basically going through Johnson's things now, like players we keep, players we want to offer, players we think might leave, whatever. So we'll start with the goalkeepers. It's quite obvious with the goalkeepers. We'll just go. Obviously, McDonald, he's going to have interest, but I'll stick whatever he wants. I'm sure you probably both agree with that.
Yeah, 2-year deal, 50% pay increase. Sign it now, Sean. You're in.
Yeah, 30% if we go up. 30% promotion wage rise. Do that. Go on.
If we go up.
Yeah,
no,
go on.
I think we're not going to go up this season.
Exactly. Not next season.
We lost it.
He's an interesting one though. He's an interesting one though, isn't he? Because he tried the I can get myself a better club elsewhere trick last year, didn't he? And I get it was partly geographical as well, but it'd be interesting to see whether he's played every game. He's number one. He's the main man. Whether if we shoved the 2-year deal under his nose, he'd say, "Yeah, that's good enough for me." So
was it more? I hope it was more like I want to be a definite number one somewhere.
He won't play him,
rather than I think I'm better than Torquay. I think it was more that one. So. At that time, of course.
There's not many spare spots, Gary. It's not like you could say Notts County had won him because they've got a regular number one, haven't they? So
as soon as I see Solkin signs a new contract, I'll be delighted. So, so McDonald, the next 2. So we'll go with Marcin. Yeah, we just haven't seen anything of him, have we? Only Johnson really know in training, but.
Played 45 minutes against
Solihull,
was it?
Yeah. He's an interesting one because I think the question with him probably depends on Halstead, doesn't it? Because I think we can all kind of agree that that's probably not worked out. But if everything is to be believed, he's on a 2-year deal. So actually, we might be in a situation where we've got to keep him if they can't agree or he wants to stay or whatever. So he could be a good number 2. But equally, we had the young lad Woolacott on the bench a couple of games ago. So they could stick with him as a cheap number 2 and then bring somebody in if anything happened to somebody. So it's an interesting one.
I don't think Marcin is staying just because of Halstead factor. If Halstead was a 1 year, I reckon there's a good chance there's number 2 again. But as we've got Woolacott and whatever, then I think I would. I was kind of impressed with when I saw him. I wouldn't say he's number 1 standard, but Gloucester fans really liked him. I think he's a very good keeper for the division below.
He's tall. He looks like he's got the tools. Maybe in a couple of years it'll come good, won't he?
Yeah, he needs games, and he's not getting games here. So just for that,
and that's the problem, isn't it? Yeah. Goalkeeper is such a unique position in that there aren't many other games where you're either playing or you're not playing, and he hasn't played a game, has he? So why would he want to stay?
Yeah,
but it depends on options, career, whatever. Because if he's leaving us, and he's probably getting a job, isn't he? So it's just an interesting one.
Yeah, and I think with Halstead, there's nothing you can say. Everyone knows the situation, but if he's 2-year, then unless would you pay him up? No, and would you say that budget? No point. The only hope is someone might take him up north, like in the Conference North or whatever, but it probably won't happen. So
he's going to go down as one of the worst signings we've ever had.
It happens, yeah.
That's the unfortunate thing. I feel sorry for the guy because he sounds like he's a nice chap, doesn't he?
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't work. Location might have been a big thing, moving away from family, possibly if he's come from up north. So,
but when your all-time nightmare 11s are coming out, he's going to be featuring heavily.
Yeah, it's a big shame. Maybe we'll see next season whether he comes back as number 2, and it might be a bit different. He'll get games if he's being number 2. We'll get games in pre-season money next season. So, I think for me, for keepers, it's quite simple. If McDonald goes, we have to get someone else. Simple as. Yeah. So we're going to defenders. Where should we start? So we'll go with Lewis and Moxie. We'll do it in doubles. Obviously, for me, anything Lewis wants, give it to him. I think if he was going to leave, we have youth compensation, do we? I think we would fall into that category, possibly. So that is on our sides.
I'm hearing rumours he might be on a 2-year deal, but
he could be. It was
an 18-month deal.
So it was 18 months when he started, I think, so he joined in January. Moxie, I'll give another year, 100%. What about you two?
Joe Lewis can stay and he can become captain if he wants to. He's that important for the team.
Absolutely.
But he's a cracking player, and you can build your team
as well.
A strong
leader at that age to be so much of a leader.
I think as well with Lewis as well, particularly. I think he's the sort of player that, as a supporter, you identify to, isn't he? His celebration when he scored on Saturday, he was giving it the heart over the Gull'S badge and that kind of thing, and he's that kind of all kind of that leader that you
that
think.
But final performance. Oh my god! Such a
he was brilliant, wasn't he? I mean, he was the one, and I always remember he was the one who came over to the fans first with all that pandemonium going on the pitch and fans jumping at him. He still kind of came over to the fans, didn't he, straight away? So I mean, you wouldn't find any Torquay fan that doesn't want to keep him. Moxie's an interesting one. That kind of Moxie, Wright, Hall, what's going to happen to them bracket. But I think Moxie's a bit different because of the geography.
I think he is. I think
he's been brilliant this season. He's in the
played
top
a lot of games this season, so I can't bemoan him having the last few games
because
he's played 40 games.
Yeah, so. I agree. Because of his move to centre back, I think he's had a much better season this season than last season, just because of centre back.
It'll probably be down
as well, isn't he?
It'll probably be down to him whether he stays or not, won't he? I'm sure Gary will ask him to, so it'll be down to him.
I guess the only concern with players of that age is, they say there comes a point where your body's had enough and it hurts too much. So there's just no way of knowing, is there? But I mean, you'd have thought he wouldn't have played week in, week out, Saturday, Tuesday if his body was in that bad a shape.
Being local and settled with family helps, doesn't it? Somebody like Danny Wright lives up Sheldon Way, doesn't he? Whereas Moxie's only up the road extra, isn't he? So he's not got far to go. And
obviously we're on the easy ones. Fullbacks Martin and Winter, again, both of them. Anything I'd put it on them, 1 year, 2 year, whatever. For both of them, absolutely. Especially, we know Winter now for years. But
I like to think about Winter will stay forever. He just feels like that Kevin Hill type of player, doesn't he? You could be here for 10 years.
Yeah. The concern for I guess from a fan's perspective, and I guess he has to consider, is there must come a point for somebody like Winter where he's got to play in the league. But again, without knowing how have league clubs been interested in him previously? Gary's described him as the best right back in the league several times, hasn't he? And I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that. But there must come a point, if there's interest.
For me,
this is the question.
I'm not sure he's a league player. That's the only thing I'd say. I mean, he's a good player, but is he confident enough to take the step up? But maybe
it's even as much of a step up anymore. That's the thing.
I'm just not sure he's the sort of. I'm not sure he's the sort of player that would catch league teams' eyes. So
because he's just solid. I think for me, my hope is with a lot of the players, especially like Lewis and Winter, the amount they believe in Gary Johnson, I think they'll be at Torquay as long as Torquay have that ambition. As soon as the Johnson goes, and we might get someone with low budget, and we don't really have, I think that's when those sort of players will move on. But for me, I hope that's the same with all of them. We'll move on to it in a minute. Maybe when we go into midfield and second midfield, a couple of players might not fall into that category. But I think
I mean, Dan Martin can stay as well, because he can make the left back his own for the next few years, hopefully, and keep learning. He's got a lot to learn still. He's a bit scrappy with possession. He didn't have the best game on Saturday. He sort of frustrated a little bit, so he'll learn as he goes on.
I think Martin and kind of probably in Ali Omar are in the same category, in that we signed them as pretty raw players. They had a pretty iffy start, but then there's a lot of work. You can see a lot of work's gone into those two on the training ground, and it kind of, and it goes down to, as I put in the talking points from the weekend, it said, if you're going to replace players like that, you're going to replace them with kind of younger players, aren't you? And we've put a lot of work into those two.
I see Omar staying now on that note. I think because he's improved
if he wants to,
if he's improved.
Would you want Omar to stay? That's the question.
If Omar left and he went to another team, I wouldn't be sat here like gutted. I think he's trying. We all know how with a person he is, how enthusiastic. I'll give him just more of a fringe role. I wouldn't say he's ready for that first team consistently yet. But if Johnson has a really experienced centre back ready, then you could see Omar leaving, if that makes sense. Another one we could add to it.
But you have to have squad players. You have to have squad players. So you can't. Everyone in your squad. The quality of our squad needs to get better. But you can't have 20 players who should all be playing. You have to have. And we've had too many squad players this year. I think that's why we're where we are.
Squad players, a lot of it.
Yeah. I think they've put a lot of work in Omar as well. Downs has done a lot of work.
I'd agree. He's shown enough improvement to be worth keeping. keep him with us. So I'm still to remain convinced. I mean, on Saturday he had a good game, but he also drifted a couple of times.
He does drift still.
Clever players might just get behind him, but
he's very good in the tackle and blocking, but he does, his positional sense will still let him down.
He reminds me a little bit of a Jimmy Agri. I don't know if you remember Jimmy Agri, Chris. He was
absolutely, yeah.
He was a bit of a fan's favourite, but he'd also drift in and out of the game occasionally. You think, oh God, what are you doing? But then he'd also the crowd would give him a big cheer. So. And he stayed at the club for about 100 games. So.
Yeah, they're both similar in that they both switched off defensively before you knew it. Oh, crikey. Kind of the opposition have scored a goal. Yeah, they're very similar in that sense. Sam probably wasn't born when he played there, Dom.
No.
Showing our generator.
So is that all the defenders? Chris, get the programme out. Is that all the... Troy Johnson.
If he's going to be a defender.
Yeah, we'll count as a defender. I count as a right back still, really.
No, not for me. He's not. He's not got the. You need utility players, and you need players who can fill in. And he played at left back on Monday, didn't he? But has he got the quality to get us into the Football League? Not for me.
And if you've, it depends, really, doesn't it? He could be a squad player still, but I think there's better.
Don't sit on the fence with this, Sam. We want a yes or no, not
a no. Just if he signs the next season, I won't be why are we signing him, because he's got talent, but he's just too inconsistent in the passing, really, for me.
I'd go against you two and keep him just because he's shown up well in the big games against Notts County.
He slots
in at wing back, he slots in midfield, he'll go full back if he needs to.
It's just his inconsistency with the pass.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. But he's probably a good guy to have around. He works hard for
I wouldn't, if we suddenly signed him, I wouldn't be disappointed.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Louis Slaugh's the other one.
But maybe he needs to be a first team player elsewhere. Louis Slough. I haven't seen enough of Louis Slough to ever know. I saw him at
Tiverton. He's a very skinny lad, so hopefully he's building himself up a bit, because he just bounced off the strikers at Tiverton that evening.
Right.
He looked okay. I mean, he looks the part if he can bulk up. But time's ticking, isn't he? We'll see 20 now. He's got to start making the grade at some stage. So what happened?
No,
I don't know on him. Not applicable any vote on that, because we haven't seen him.
No. I know Johnson will know, but if you like, we'll see. I think it's up to players like Johnson and that, whether they want to be bit part player or they want to be first team with a bit more of a local one. So we'll see anyway. So moving into midfield, where do we start? So Laps is 2 year. You're going to keep, unless an offer comes in, but I think he's too injury prone to attract interest.
He'll be here.
Hey, Connor, is he a striker, or do you have him in forward or midfield?
I have him as attacking midfielder or slash forward, but obviously Little and Lemon Evans, you're going to want to keep them, of course, but both of them on the way out. If someone said, I would say yes, they might be, to be honest, because same with Winter. They've been here for a lot of years now, and they must become a point where you think, I'm going to make that jump.
He's been here for 4 years, Connor, isn't he? So I
wouldn't begrudge them unless they go for Notts County.
Imagine if a good offer comes along, I couldn't blame him to take him. We'd obviously keep both of them, wouldn't we?
I'd build my team around them.
I think the thing with these is that they're such complicated decisions, I guess, if you're the player. Because there's a geography. Connor's got 2 young children, hasn't he? Armani's still young, and of course, and at the moment they're the main men, aren't they? They're playing every game. Everything goes around them.
Yeah.
So if were they to go to another National League club, then that would be disappointing, I think.
Yes, I agree.
Just like we had with Whitfield last year, because he had the same dilemma. Again, geography comes into it. But if they get offered league offers,
I would never.
But then can I make the step up? Can I move? Can I relocate? Can I not play as often? Or they might decide to stick here because they know they're going to play in the main men.
I think if they get league offers, they'll just go.
I think so. And I think they should.
I think a career is probably too short to think.
It's a very short career.
And in reality, they should both be playing in the Football League. Let's be honest. Taking our Torquay hats off for half a second, they're both good enough players to play in the.
I personally think McDonald's, Lewis, Winter, and them two are good enough to play in the Football League.
They're the main 5. If we keep 3 of those, we'll probably be happy with that, I think, probably.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, we'll keep all of them in a heartbeat, but I'm resigned, sadly, to losing them. And Johnson has said, and I just feel like it's going to be them two, really.
But again, what's different to this time last year?
Exactly.
and they both stayed then. So
I think the big difference for Little is that he's had an injury-free season. The seasons go.
Yeah.
Which I think
Lemonade was on a 2-year deal last year.
Yeah,
he was halfway through.
Lemonade was a bit more
impressive.
Lemonade was a bit more impressive last season than this, or more consistent. It must be a point where you're like, I've peaked at this level, I want to go to the next. And when you're like, I've got to do that same level again, maybe that might fall.
Or just shoot more, Connor, is another option, of course.
Yeah, I'm not ruling out anything of those two. Anything could happen with those two.
Yeah, but I have it in my mind, so I'm not as I'll be gutted if they leave. Any of them leave, but and then Asa Hall. Now that is a big one. It's a
talking point, isn't it, Chris? Do you want to go first on that while I dwell on my thoughts?
I mean, look, it's a really tough one. I mean, there are times, particularly when the opposition have turned the ball over and they're on the counter and where he just looks like he's treading water, doesn't it, as he's trying to run back, and he doesn't look that quick. But equally, in terms of leadership, what he brings to the club in the background, I suspect.
Legend gets
I don't know whether there's any
sort of legend.
Yeah, I don't know if he wants to get into coaching or anything in that sense. If you're holding a gun to my head, I would probably say I would keep him for one more year.
Yeah, I would too. Definitely. I mean,
come on, Tom. That's long enough. I procrastinated long enough. Come on.
I've dwelt over this one all week.
It's a factor.
You're sort of balancing between sentimentality a little bit, aren't you? Because the served us well. But I think just because he's a good guy to have around the dressing room, and he's a leader, I think, and you don't want to lose too many of those sort of guys. No. I would keep him for another year. And he showed on Saturday. Saturday, he looked horrendously slow first half, but then he was all over midfield creating things second half. So he's got a bit, and he also pops up with those big goals in big games.
He's been rushed back to fitness as well recently. I think it's just a case of we're sort of right where we're here, because I'm saying the Zoom's like telling me that we're going to get kicked out before we get to the strikers probably. But I think when it comes to players like that, and you could even say Moxie, they're probably on a higher earning bracket. And it would be a case of, right, you might get put down to more of a second choice here. I've got another target. And then it's for them, it's like, do they want to be first choice here on that less money, or will they go like, because Wright was going Gloucester, wasn't he, before Wright?
I don't think they'll take less money, that's the thing.
No, they won't. So
say, I'm going to play for what I was on already.
And if I've got a centre mid who I know who's a bit younger, who's a bit, hopefully not, we've got fitness issues, whatever, then
I think for Hall and Wright, what I said earlier about Moxie, that when players reach that kind of mid-30s age, around kind of body condition and how much it hurts. You look at Asa a little bit and you think that looks like it hurts.
Yeah.
That his body hurts, and Wrighty to a degree, in a way that Moxie probably you wouldn't look at like that. So if Asa packed it in, you wouldn't be surprised.
30 games this season, so you can't expect
I think as well, as much as the quality that Wright and Hall can bring, you want someone when you're paying them for like first team,
big money.
To be on 46, to aim for about 40 of the 46 games. And if I would have to look how many they've managed, especially Wright, he's probably one of his longest spells with Torquay where he's not had an injury, touch wood, to the end of the season for him. But
it's a yes anyway. We better move on. I don't
move on. Yes, move on.
No,
Jake Andrews is technically up for debate. He's only on loan. No.
See you later. Move on.
Move on. Yeah, it's gone, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Right, here we go, Dom. This is your moment. Are you ready? O'Connell. Make the case, Dom. Let's hear you.
You give me daggers, you are. I've got a soft spot for him. And on Saturday, he comes on, he tries his little heart out, doesn't he? But he's one of those, like a little hamster where you sort of pass the ball to him, his heart's beating so fast, doesn't he? He's almost too excitable to do anything.
I could come on and try hard, Dom.
Yeah, I could
come on and try hard, not for long, but
no, I'm not saying that's a great thing, but he is a trier. I bet in training he works his socks off. And
but if he was spending your money, would you keep him?
No, I wouldn't keep him.
I reckon he could have a good career. He could have a good career, but he's playing the South or whatever, or Southern.
He needs to just calm down, just find some composure.
As soon as he makes a bad pass, that's a game gone for him. It feels like, which is a shame, but no, not for me.
Gabby Rogers is next.
No, he's done nothing to earn a contract.
I can't believe it. When he signed,
Gary clearly has no faith in him.
So gutted. I thought he was going to be the best player in the league, honestly, just because he can't sign hit top corner in pre-season. Gutted.
Then we got the two lads, the two younger lads, Piper and Moyes. Again, haven't seen enough of them, but
they both look decent muscle in pre-season. But
Alex Moyes is a definite yes. I saw him against Tiverton.
Decent quality, doesn't he?
He wanted to get on the ball. He had a bit of confidence about him.
Yeah, I think he was the same against Paul. I was actually wish he was around a bit this season.
He'll be in the squad next season, and he could do very well for us. I hope.
Yeah.
Felix.
Yes. You know what? Because I reckon he might be on an 18th month if he's moved down from Billericay.
There was talk of that, wasn't there?
I reckon he's on an 18th month.
In the Swan House. I don't think it's going anywhere else.
But you wouldn't come down from Billericay and like undisclosed fee, more importantly, from the club on a 6
fee? What?
I swear there was an undisclosed fee.
Just making things up now.
He's excitable today, isn't he?
But I don't get. Every time I see Felix, and bear in mind he plays out of position in centre midfield, I think he's tidy. I prefer him. Yeah, I think he could be a squad player.
I don't like to be heightist, but he's just too damn short.
Yeah, he could be, yeah.
Again, he's not played enough, and there's got to be a reason why he's been at the club 6 months and barely played. There has to be a reason for that, doesn't there? So, yeah, I don't know. Right, I think that's it for them. Well, on to the forwards then.
Yeah.
So
we haven't got many players, have we?
No.
Yeah, this won't take long. Danny Wright. Again, we've talked about this. I'll go first on him.
You're very keen, aren't you?
Logically, I would keep him, but he can't be the main man because we need to have more competition. We need to have more quality.
Undisclosed fee thing up.
Good.
Yeah.
But again, if you're going to be paying sort of Wright must be on higher money. You're going to pay that for somebody who is not going to be a main man and maybe not playing.
Is he going to turn around and go, you know what, I might go part time now. I don't know if I can do it. We don't know yet. So. Yeah. And
Sam,
also,
was it yes or no from you?
Me, yes.
Sam sits on the fence too much, doesn't he? Must be an age thing.
He must have splinters in his backside, mustn't he?
Because I don't have the Football Manager stars in front of me. It shows them how good they are. That's why I rely on.
Come on.
I would love Wright, and I would, but it comes down to circumstances. I'd have him in my squad all day, but I would want to sign another striker. And I'd say to him, look, you probably won't be first choice, because we need another striker who can definitely pay me 40.
Is that a yes or no?
Yes, but I feel like he would go, no, I want to be first choice somewhere else and say no. So I'll put the offer on the table, and I'd love to see Wright there for another season. I'm a huge fan of him, but it comes down to circumstances, really.
You would reckon as well, Mance would have him at Gloucester, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I see him going Gloucester. I'd say a couple of guys going Gloucester. So... And if someone went in like he went Gloucester, I'd be delighted for you. You know, that's what I'd say. But I'm not talking manager, so I wouldn't say.
Come on then, Dom.
Is it my turn?
We've got 2 minutes left, so we're gonna have to make a
news. I like Danny. Nice, good guy to have around. Do I want him around next season? No, I don't think so.
Maybe we need to move on. We've got 2 minutes.
In fairness, I don't think there's anything else to move on to, because the other two options are Lawless and Holman, and I don't think that needs much debating, does it?
Lolos is a big shame. And that's all I will say, because I thought it was going to be class. Yeah. He just needs a fresh start. He's got talent in him, but he needs to be composure. And Holman, amazing player at this level 5-6 years ago. You can see that he wants to do the things, but he just can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Lolos, the trouble with Lolos, he wants to be a number 10 and he play around the striker, be the main man, but he's not good enough to do it, is he?
He's just not composed in front of goal, sadly.
Yeah, he hasn't got the pace or energy to do that sort of role.
It's a big shame, but
it is a big shame, particularly as he's been the TORQUAYTALK sponsored player this season as well, which is another big shame.
Yeah, hope for better things, don't we, mate?
Yeah, I was the main person, but I was like, go for Lolos. The performance I've seen against Paul Town and a friendly, go for Lolos, I said. So
I think Dan Holman's been lucky that Mark Holstead had such a nightmare, because the sort of heat's gone off of him.
It's just not gone well for him.
He has been absolutely
that offside got Yeovil though. We'll give him that.
I was just about to say, we'll always have Yeovil. We'll always have Yeovil
finish. And that's the pouring rain. And that is what Holman did in his career. We can tell, at least with Holman, you can go, look, he's done it in his career. He was class.
Maybe he should have retired after that game.
We did. Straight up. Yeah, he should. Yeah.
He actually has, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he was retired. He didn't retire. Just didn't get a game.
I see he's been injured this last 6 weeks, has he?
I don't know. Or they've just given
And what about Olaf?
No,
if he would have made it by now, surely. If he was
will Gary stay stubborn and keep him around as long as he's
as long as I'm here, he'll be here, he said more than once, hasn't he?
We'll see.
No, I know from me as well.
We've got to completely rebuild the striker force. We've got to get 2 or 3 in. Get it right this time. That's a big part. So before Zoom kicks us out, Yeah, thank you for you two for joining. Make sure you get all the hair done as well, you two. Make sure just in case the camera comes. Yeah, make sure you do that. I've had that on me once and I almost picked my nose. This was when we played Lincoln years ago.
That could be any time during the game.
So just remember not to pick my nose and I'll be fine. So yeah. Cheers, and I'll see you in a bit.